Hi! So, today I wanted to talk about how to start college the right way, but more specifically, how to start in a community college. I haven't really mentioned it before, but I started at a community college first and then I transferred to a 4 year university. My career actually took me 5 years. So, my first two were at the community college, and then my last three were at the university. So, why start at a community college? For me, it was pretty easy because I didn't want to go out of state and I didn't want to move out of my house right away. I am Latina, so I was really close to my family, and we also didn't have any other relatives that live in the United States. So I wanted to keep my family as close as I could. So my community college was 50 minutes away from my house, and it was also way cheaper than starting off at a 4 year university. It had enough options where I could take enough classes before transferring. But the most important thing was that I was able to get a scholarship that covered all my classes for the first 2 years. So with that being said, if you think about it, I was researching because I didn't actually knew how much was the average college tuition per semester. I was just based on the school that I picked. So I found out it was around 9,000 per semester. Now think about it. I saved from paying 4 semesters, and I didn't even pay at a reduced price because I was going to a community college. I didn't pay at all because I had all those classes covered. Now, how did I get this scholarship? I got it even before I had graduated high school. The community college that I went to had a program that when seniors in high school were selected by the counselors, and then they had a little interview, kind of like a competition to pick, I think it was about 5 students per school, all the districts that would eventually be in the area of that community college. So I was lucky enough to be selected. I went through all the interviews and all the events that they had that in order to make us qualify for it. So I was really lucky to get those first 2 years paid for my college. But also that didn't mean that I had to be there for 2 years, which people usually think that if you're gonna start a community college and if it's 2 and 2, you have to be 2 full years there. So that is not the case, or at least that's what I don't think it should be like, unless you actually have enough classes. In my case, we didn't have enough engineering classes at community college. We only had, I think, one or two. So there was definitely not enough for me to cover my 2 years. I did end up staying 2 years, but it was more of like I didn't know enough to be able to know that I could have left before then. So, what to take at the community college when you get there? If you are interested in STEM, you have to take all your basic STEM classes to start off. Even if you start a 4 year college, you won't be able to get into your engineering classes if you haven't taken your basic calculus or physics, even chemistry. So when you start off at a community college, start off with Calc 1 if you haven't taken it already in college. Then move up and you can finish Calc 1, Calc 3, and differential equations. If you can get those out of the way, you're pretty much done with math at least math classes for the rest of your career. Other than that, take your chemistry. For us, we had to take chemistry 1 and 2. I think biology, I took a biology, and physics 1 and 2. So I was able to get chemistry 1, chemistry 2, biology, physics 1, physics 2. So that's at least 5 classes. So I didn't even have to take them one per semester. I could take chemistry and physics my first semester, and then I take biology and physics 2 the second semester, and so on. So you don't have to spread them out and only take one science class at once if you have the chance and if you want to do it. What else to take? So besides from all those STEM classes, I took my communications class, which don't wait until the last minute. I had some of my classmates that would, in their very last semester, would take their communications class. And by then it is too late. I mean, it's not like you do use them in your engineering classes. You wouldn't believe how many presentations I actually have. So it is one of the most important ones. Take statistics, take your English, because you will need that. Whether you're gonna use it or not, it doesn't matter if you're gonna be writing tons of papers when you're out of school, but you will need them for any major that you're gonna do. So definitely take those right off the bat. Now, in my case, the only way to make sure that all my general classes, for example, electives and humanities and all that, was counted when I transferred was by getting an associate's. But the problem with this is that it made me stay longer than I had to, and it made me take classes that I didn't need to. I did it this way because I didn't want to worry about getting to the university and telling me that my class wasn't worth any credit. But it just cost me more time at the end, and I ended up taking longer once I had transfer. So if you can and you know where you're going after you start community college, which also a great option to start if you don't know exactly what major you are, is to just start a community college. It will give you time to figure out exactly what you want without declaring a major. And it also gives you an option to learn what you want. But if you do know where you want to go and exactly what major you're having, you can search what classes the four-year university asks for and make sure that you take those classes, the ones that the community college offers, and talk to both schools. Don't ever just talk to one. If you're going to take a class at a community college, talk to the university and make sure that that class is going to transfer. Because I had many times where, for example, in my four-year university, for programming, you had to take only one class. But if they compared it to the one we took at a community college, it counted as two. So most of the students would take only one thinking that they were good. They would go to the four university and they still had to retake it with the one that supposedly covered the first two that you had to take at a community college. So always be sure that you have that communication between the two schools, and then you form that link that you're keeping track of, that you're making sure you have what you need and not more than what you need. Another thing that I wish I had done, but I didn't really do, was take classes over the summer. I mean, if you don't have to be working over the summer, because I know that I personally sometimes I either work all the summer because I had an internship, but it also because I had to save all the money to cover for my expenses for the next semester. But if you can not work or balance a job and go to school in the summer, then do it, because that's going to help you a lot, especially if you're starting in a community college. For me, my scholarship covered my first 4 semesters and the summers in between. So there was one summer I think that covered, and I didn't take advantage of it. I didn't take any classes, I wanted the summer. But if you can take those classes, you can get rid of some classes in the on your last semester. Like I said, you don't have to be there your four semesters. So if you can manage to take some in the summer in between, you can even do a year and a half with that summer included, and then you're saving that semester that you can either use it later in your four-year university, or you can just at the end finish with less time, or have your very last semester at a four-year university with only 1 to 2 classes and not have to pay a full semester then. So like I said, I stayed longer at community college, and once I graduated, I had way more credits that I needed, and all those credits just went to waste. Like I had so many electives that I didn't need, and then I also had tested for Spanish courses. So I had like 4 years of Spanish that they didn't really do anything. I just needed one for the associates, but then I didn't require that to transfer into university. So just a heads up, if you don't have to get an associate, just don't get an associate. Now, besides from being cheaper and also offering still enough classes, they have a lot more advantages. Community college have tons of resources for students. In fact, that was the time that I was the most involved in extracurricular activities. I was the president of STEM Club, I was part of Latinos Unidos, and I was just always there in all the events they had. They had a way more welcoming environment than when I transferred into a four-year university and we have a ton of more students. So when I was at community college, and since I was part of a couple of scholarships, groups, I knew pretty much everyone, and I was able to form that type of like sense of belonging there. We kind of found the people that we liked and that we could hang out with. So that was pretty cool for me. That was something that I didn't get once I transferred out that I wish I did, but being a commuter also made it difficult once I was at a four-year university. And being here in a community college that was only 15 minutes away from my house gave me the flexibility of leaving and coming back and being here for events that they did and taking advantage of all the resources, all the mentor, they had a tutor group and everything, all the library, everything that they had, it was way more accessible to me at that time. I was able to find friends that they were closer friends that I had found in high school, and then I have found once I transferred out. They are friends that we built this relationship early on in our career, and I am greatly grateful that I found them. As far as scholarships, since it is a cheaper option for college, if you get scholarships, if they're out scholarship not coming from the community college, it is easier that they will count as more percentage over your tuition. So if you get $1,000 in a scholarship, it won't be the same if you apply it to a community college than if you went to a four-year university. So it will definitely be, you will take more advantage of those scholarships that you're able to get. Now, the scholarships that are part of community college, in my case, we had the Gustafson Scholarship, which was the one that covered my 2 years, all my classes, everything included. But I was also able to get into a National Science Foundation STEM Scholarship, which that one, since I already had my other scholarship, was not able to cover because everything was already covered. But it gave me a lot of resources. We had a mentorship program with a professor or an instructor in your area. In that case, since I had started as a physics major, my mentor was a physics instructor. I also got a female advisor or mentor, which also was really great for me to start my career and have that mentor to look towards. Part of that STEM scholarship also included presentations, attending other STEM events that weren't just in the community college. They were in the community, or they were with resources that the same members of the program had access to. So that was really great too. We also had an opportunity to participate in a statewide competition. So we would be our first year of our scholarship, because the STEM scholarship was also for your first 2 years. The first year you would be in charge of doing your own research and creating a presentation for the school. But then the next year you were able to do a bigger research and go to that competition and present your research there. So that was really great. It was just something that was extra from being able to get all the other resources. Part of that STEM scholarship also included presentations, attending other STEM events that weren't just in the community college. They were in the community, or they were with resources that the same members of the program had access to. So that was really great too. We also had an opportunity to participate in a statewide competition. So we would be our first year of our scholarship, because the STEM scholarship was also for your first 2 years. The first year you would be in charge of doing your own research and creating a presentation for the school. But then the next year you were able to do a bigger research and go to that competition and present your research there. So that was really great. It was just something that was extra from being able to get all the other resources. Now, while I know a lot of you already have schools that you really want to go to, I don't think I regret starting at a smaller college and then transferring. And I know a lot of schools have kind of like, they would take way more students if they're freshmen than if you're a transfer. In this case, there's a school here in the state that it takes about 2 engineers per year or per semester as transfer. So it's really hard to get there if you didn't start there. But hear me out. I don't feel like you need to start or need to attend the best school to get the best education. I mean, if you can get your degree and you're committed and you know your stuff and you work hard to learn it, then you don't need to have the best school name to be the best engineer in my case. So when I was in community college, I think I got actually better education than I went into a 4-year university. So our classes were maybe 25 people the most, but if you kept going in your classes, for example, my Physics 2 course or my Calc 3 and differential equations, we were maybe 10 to 15 students. So the one-on-one teacher thing, you do get it. You get that more experience. They know you. And once I transferred to a 4-year university, they would cram about 100 people or 120 per class. You would only get one class anyways. You didn't have the option to take it in the morning or midday or anything. You just couldn't do it. It was that one class. You had 120 students and you never saw the professor. So to me, I think that starting at a community college was way better. I got the most I could. I would say out of my money, but I didn't pay my community college, so it wasn't out of my money. But it was the best deal I could get. I could not just say, you know what, you gave me a scholarship for my first 2 years and I'm not going to take it. That was just crazy. So even eventually, once I transferred into a 4-year university, I was able to get scholarships before I went in, and that helped me as well. So overall, I didn't have to pay a lot. But just in general, think about starting at a community college if you have that option, and then transferring. And just in general, whether you transfer or not, whether you start at a community college or you start at a 4-year university, if you take your time And doesn't matter how long it takes you. For me, it took me 5 years. Yeah, it feels like you want to get out of school, but I think I learned everything at my own pace. And even if I had started at a 4 year university, engineering majors have way more credits than any other major. And in order to graduate in 4 years, you had to overload in half of your semesters in order to graduate in time. And as I was graduating, they were changing the program so that you didn't have to take more classes, or this class now counted as another one, because they started to understand that it was just impossible for engineers to graduate in 4 years, and most of them were staying longer. So also, whether you transfer or not, don't feel bad because you took an extra year or an extra semester. That is always okay, as long as you know that you keep moving forward. And as well as repeating classes. I am not I I do have classes that I took at least twice, and sometimes it takes the second time. Sometimes the professor that you got doesn't, you just don't understand from them, and sometimes the second time around you take it, everything makes so much more sense. So just think about those things in your way. But then again, just always consider your options, and don't just think about that that's your only option, and then even if it's the most expensive thing, you have to go there because you think that's going to be the best thing for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will list on the description, I guess this is the first time I'm doing this, kind of like a schedule of what I think would be the ideal classes to take in a community college for transferring, just so you can get an idea. I actually love doing this. I've done it for a couple of friends where I plan out what classes they need to take in order to transfer, just so you kind of have like a solid idea of what needs to be taken care of there before you want to transfer. That will be beneficial without wasting too many classes and too much time, if you're planning to go this way. Thank you for watching.